It's a Ron and Fez show. We were just talking about this. We saw on Opie's Twitter page, Opie Radio, that Patrice O'Neal passed away. Only 41 years old. No words could be good enough to talk about that. Extremely, extremely funny man. Well liked by other funny people. And, when the initial thing came down, when he went into that coma and he didn't come out of it quickly, like within the week, it didn't, wasn't a good feeling. At least, of course, it's not something that's going to linger anymore. But again, I don't know what kind of solace that's supposed to give anyone either. If you'd like to talk about Patrice, 866-RON-0-FEZ, 866-RON-0-FEZ. I know that Opie and Anthony are going to have a lot to talk about tomorrow because, I was one of their guys for a long, long time now. They had an open door policy with O&A. And quite frankly, and I've talked about this before, teasing you listeners about O&A spoiling you over the years, they've always had a great eye on who the truly funny people were. It's not an easy place to go in there and hang out on the O&A show. You can't have a half an hour of great material, and then still be able to go in there and hang out. You got to be able to think on your feet all the time. And the guys that they have doing that show are always guys that can talk about any subject and want to be in there. The amazing thing about it is these are all night people. You know what I mean? There are late night people,
6 in the morning,
and they come in and do morning radio, and no one knows what's going to happen on any given day. No one knows what the topic is going to be, and you got to be able to swing. So we'll take some of your calls, 866-RON-0-FEZ, 866-RON-0-FEZ. Go over here to Ryan. Ryan, you're on the Ron and Fez show.
Hey, thanks for going right to my call, Ron. I appreciate it. It's really sad hearing about Patrice. I listen to you guys. You're my family on the road every day, and some of the most riveting radio I've ever listened to was Patrice going into a story when he was in high school, being wrongfully accused of rape, and went on for a while. I know O&A have the story probably on tape and have replayed it before, but it was a really sad day today, thinking about Patrice and all he's given to us who listen to him and you guys every day, and really appreciate you giving me the chance to get on and say these things. Thanks, guys.
He's going to be highly missed, and maybe by just the funniest people. Bill Burr, when we did his Unmasked not too long ago, was saying Patrice is the funniest. And this was before Patrice became ill. The other thing about, if you go back and listen to a lot of stuff, to me, the really good comics, the really great comics are the people who made you think, wait, I never even thought of it from that angle before. And a comic that can make you go, I disagree with everything that you're saying, but this is funny as shit. And Patrice had both of those things for me. There were things that he said, just like from a philosophy point of view, that used to make me just tilt my head a little bit. The stuff that we, when I did the Unmasked with him, and it's why I decided I really wanted to keep doing that show, because there was a lot more than what's on the surface with anyone. But Patrice got into this thing as, I don't want to make everybody laugh. I just want my audience. I actually made him go through with it, and we decided on the figure 100,000 people. If he could have 100,000 people in the country that would come and see him and buy his product, he would be more than happy. He wanted to be a boutique business because the mass appeal thing didn't, appeal to him at all. And oddly, now that I think about it, I don't even know if that was a choice, because when you are not just trying to please the audience all the time, you don't have to worry about being mass appeal. You're only going to please the people who are willing to take that leap with you. And I think he had that. And I think that's why really, really funny people are gigantic fans of Patrice. Will, you're on the Ron and Fez show.
Hey, buddies. I just started listening to the channel back in 2007, and the first couple times I heard Patrice O'Neal, I didn't get him, and I didn't like him. And then before I knew it, he was my favorite comedian they had on there. And the thing about him, he was able to mix a certain amount of anger, a certain amount of humanity, and a certain amount of sincerity to create a very unique voice. And he was really one of the most funny guys I think I've ever heard. So
you know what? And I'm going to agree with you. I'm not sure that on the first time that I heard him, I was the biggest fan too, because I felt like he was talking over Anthony too much. For me, I'm like, please, quiet down, sir. When I was listening. And then it was as you got used to him. And again, that happens with some of the best comedians, that it takes you to find the paces with them. And some of the comedians who do well with audience and get laughs, and you accept them immediately because they're nice, harmless people, they don't stay in your memory at all. And they certainly don't change the way you think about things. And to me, I don't know if you can be a great comedian without having some kind of social change to what's happening about you, without being able to say, this is something that happens, and it is not fair, and this is what happens, or what should happen. And while you're saying that, make people laugh. And make even the people laugh and go, yeah, I fucking do that too, And that's why some of his race stuff and some of his war between the sexes was, always terrific. Let's go over to our little buddy Flea. We haven't talked to him in a while. How you doing, Flea?
I've been better. But Patrice is one of the best thinkers and one of the funniest people. But one thing that he's done, and I'm sure it's not just for me, but for other people, he changed people's lives with his wisdom. I mean, I know this is going to sound silly, but it's, when he said having your swagger and knowing about yourself, and his advice, not just to me personally, but listening to him on the air, but also off the air, it's just, I've been a fan of his for, 10 years, ever since WNEW, and then his stuff on Tough Crowd, that was just brilliant as well, when you would just control the room and then hearing him back and seeing him live. One of the best comics of all time, one of the best thinkers, and just a guy who I just want to thank Patrice for everything he did and really helping my life and turn it around and helping me become a man. I know it seems silly and stuff to people, but I don't know. I love Patrice.
You are one uncomfortable kid. Thank you. One incredibly uncomfortable kid. 866 Ron Zero Fez. 866 Ron Zero Fez. If you just joined us, sad news, and this was up on Opie Radio, and I wouldn't have announced it unless I saw that Opie had put it up first. That Patrice O'Neal had passed away. Anybody who was listening to the day that O&A broke that news, part of you was like, oh, I hope he bounces back real quick and I hope it's better than ever. But the other part of me that worried about that is I sincerely didn't want anything to happen to his mind, I sincerely wanted, the best outcome that could happen. But it just seemed horrifying to me that if he would have came out of that and not had that same kind of mind. 866 Ron Zero Fez. 866 Ron Zero Fez. Let's go over here to Chris. Chris, you're on the Ron and Fez show.
Hey, Ronnie. How's it going?
What can we do for you, buddy?
I just wanted to comment on the fact that you mentioned how the O&A spoils us with comedians. I agree with that 100%. And I wanted to comment on how Patrice's laughter alone, when they would be joking around on the show, would be so contagious. I've never heard anybody whose laughter was so contagious, where he would start laughing and I would be hysterically laughing, even if I didn't know what he was laughing about. It's unbelievable, and he'll be greatly missed, and I appreciate you making the announcement. You guys rock.
All right, thank you. Here is Suzanne. Suzanne, you're on Fez.
Hey, Ron, I just wanted to say that Patrice was so funny, and one of the reasons he was so funny is because he was so smart. And one of the other few people that fall into that category is you. You have the same type of what you say, I stop and say, you know what? That is the funniest fucking thing I ever heard, but I've never thought of it that way.
You know what? Let's talk about me tomorrow. I'd love to get back to me as soon as we can.
Okay, good.
But I don't want this to become like Zito does with Syracuse. Like, let's constantly get this back to Syracuse until the complaint mail starts to come in.
Stop Patrice.
Oh no. Let's head on over here to Dave. Dave, you're on the Run of Fez show.
Hey, Ronnie B. One thing I miss about Patrice, I noticed whenever he used to come on the O&A show, never have they been called the N-word so many times by one man. And I also want to say, fuck XM and Sirius for not giving him his own show. His freaking advice, his love advice was just mind-blowing, man.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
That show was great.
Thanks a lot, man.
Yeah.
I love listening to that thing. On Saturday Night Fires, it was awesome. It was really some of the funniest shit ever.
Let's go over here to Johnny. Johnny, you're on the Run of Fez show.
Hey, Ron, how you doing?
What can we do for you?
Yeah, I just wanted to, I actually am a comic, and I opened for Patrice as recently as October. And he couldn't have been a nicer guy. I've actually opened for him 7 times and developed a bit of a relationship. And he was very supportive, great guy, one of the funniest human beings I've ever been in a room with. And he had to walk a table of 13 at Comics at Foxwoods and ended up giving the waitress the money, paying the waitress out of his own pocket to take care of the girl to make sure that she was handled.
So,
and I just found out that he died 30 seconds ago. I'm really kind of upset right now. But
that's really, right up into the end, he could still walk a room, though. He could still, table 13 got we are leaving.
Table of 13, he walked. This was the first week in October. Yeah, he walked hardcore, just wouldn't let up. Smashed 13 people out of the room who were regulars at the club, and it was fantastic.
Nice. What exactly was he saying to him? Do you remember?
Not exactly. Well, ladies, it was an obnoxious bitch in the front who kept talking, and then made it about, do you know who I am with this bullshit? She was a judge or something like that. And he smashed her. He didn't give a fuck, and he knew exactly who she was and how she was passive-aggressively trying to fuck the show up, and got into her head the same way he always had his fantastic psychology, where he just breaks down and simplifies a moment to the person to the point where, like, it was just so beautiful to watch him smash these people. I don't remember the verbiage exactly. I'm sorry. But.
All right, Johnny, thanks for calling. How funny, though, even at that point of his career, could still get a table of 13 up and out. And you know that those people are driving with fuck you know what I mean? It's just fucking hilarious. I, talked about this before with Patrice as far as being an original, is go back and watch the last time he was on the Jimmy Fallon show, just how unlike a talk show guest that he was like. I was laughing at my house because he came out, started talking to the band, then people in the audience, and you're like, well, there's a certain way to come out on the couch, plug your gig, eye contact with the host, do the things, but he was so completely different, and I thought the same thing about the roast. He did not come out and do the typical way that you're supposed to be on a roast. I just found that fascinating about him. Jeff, you're on the Run of Fez show.
Hey guys, tough day to hear about Patrice's passing. As a hayseed redneck and a flyover state, Patrice's honesty about himself, about race, about the things, though at times I was just going right along with him. Other times his honesty challenged my own ways of viewing people in general. That it was, sometimes it was brutal, and it just shoved a sword right in my heart and made me have to sit there and go, wow, I'm an asshole. But and some of his things that he said really made me think, because of his absolute unflinching honesty about the things that he spoke about, passionately speaking about. Was just amazing. It was just amazing.
No, I will agree too, and I also agree with that thing of, like, you did not agree with him. Sometimes not immediately, like you would go later, like, yeah, I've thought about that a little bit, and that is true. Or other times, no, I've thought about it quite a bit, and he's just wrong. You know what I mean? Which was enough to always keep your interest. And again, one of those things. The fact that you go out and you're not trying to say the thing that pleases everybody, stunning. Stunning. And I'm going to say it one more time to you, folks, that you really don't get how lucky you've been over the years with a lot of the comics that O&A brought in, and the free reign, and the fact that, like, you hear them bust each other's balls, so you're going to jump into it, to try to act like that, because they get their balls busted sometimes, to act like Bobby Kelly or Rich Voss aren't fucking phenomenal comics, It's, sometimes I get a little annoyed at the audience. I really do. I get a little annoyed at the audience. Here is, Neil, you're on the Run of Fez show.
Hey, fellas. Such a sad occasion. I think we lost one of the comedic geniuses of our time. But I got to meet Patrice last year at Anthony's poker tournament at Foxwoods. And about a month before that, he had went on a rant about the United Areas of America, and it's probably one of the funniest things I've ever heard in my life. And we just sit and hash that out, and he's just such a great guy, just a bigger-than-life personality.
Thank you so much, my friend. Here's Dave in Philly. Dave, go ahead.
Hey, Ron. Real upset about the news. Actually, I met him about a month ago here in Philly. I saw him, and in the same vein that you're talking about with how we're spoiled on O&A, you honestly, you feel like you're, sometimes you're just hanging out at the Comedy Cellar with them at the table. And I actually, it's in poor taste now, but I gave him a gift after the show, gift wrapped in like wrapping paper and whatnot, with a note that said it was a box of extra dark brown sugar, because apparently that's better for diabetics, and said a spoonful of extra dark brown sugar helps the insulin go down. And he laughed and everything, but next day I sent him a tweet, a private message saying, sorry, if the health situation's bad, I apologize. I'm not, and now I just feel awful about it.
Well, Dave, I kind of feel like this is your fault. If I'm going to be totally honest, that's the type of thing that could push a person over.
Looks like we zeroed in on it.
Let's go over here to Adam. Adam, you're on Run of Fez.
I went and saw Patrice at his last taping, the special that he did for Comedy Central, and I've never met so many awesome, diverse people waiting online for an hour and a half to see this guy. And there was a lot of O&A fans, but there was a lot of people that just knew of him, and it was just so awesome to talk to people. And I always felt like when we were all hanging out and stuff, because I still talk to most of the guys that I met that day, is that, we all just hit it off. It was, it was like one unit, and we all got together. It's like, I don't know. It was very interesting for me, and I was horrified to hear that he passed away and stuff, because he was so awesome on O&A. And as I want to be a stand-up. I'm a comedian, but I'm trying to do stand-up, and it was just so awesome to hear him and stuff. He was so brutally honest, and even during his taping, like there was one woman that stuck out to him because she was folding his arms, and he just assassinated her. And it was just amazing, like just to stop the whole taping just to go after this one woman, because it obviously bugged the shit out of him, whatever she was doing.
To get back to that special that he did, I guess that was last year. The one kind of small silver lining would be that I know that he was saying, and I think he said this on O&A and then on some shows after, that this was one thing that he was really happy with that he did. That, he felt like, okay, this came out the way that I wanted it to. 866-RUN-0-FEZ, 866-RUN-0-FEZ. Andy, you're on the Run and Fez show.
Hey, Ronnie. No songs today. I gotta admit, this is weird. I'm stuck in a car 8 hours a day, driving, listening to both shows, and to hear one of you guys pass on, it's bizarre. Like, I don't know Patrice. Patrice doesn't know me from Adam, but it's just such a kick in the gut. And I gotta be honest, though, my own father had a massive stroke when I was very young, and for those of you out there that don't know what strokes do to people, if there is a blessing to take from this unjust parting, it's that a stroke never gives you back the person it takes from you. It's the worst case of like making a copy of a copy. And Patrice being who he was and being so large in life and being such a proud individual to get taken down this way, it really I'm at a loss for words.
All right. I appreciate you calling, Andy. And I had mentioned that, too, that it was one of the things that I worried about with that, is I certainly didn't want anything to happen to his sense of humor and his style of thinking. But, again, I'm not a family member. When it's your family, you're like, we want whatever, we'll work on it, we'll build on it. But I remember, particularly when he didn't come out of the coma very quickly, that it was just a frightening aspect to think that could happen. Let's go over to Billy. Billy, you're on Run and Fez.
Hi, Ron. It's 20-year-old Billy again. First of all,
I don't know who you are or why you're doing this.
Death. Second of all, Pepper, I was totally serious about doing acid with you.
We got to get somebody on our phones. Let's go over here to go to Chris. Chris, you're on Fez.
Yeah, Ronnie, I just want to say, I don't know if there'll ever be another comic exactly like Patrice. I don't remember ever being this upset about the passing of somebody that I didn't know. I think what I liked best about Patrice was he had the unique ability to keep you laughing even if you didn't agree with him. If it was a racial dialogue or something political, him and Anthony, they would still both be laughing. It never got that uncomfortable because although he took what he was talking about seriously, he didn't go too far with it, and he never sucked the humor out of the conversation, and I think that's a real hard thing to do.
It's absolutely a hard thing to do. And the fact that I've actually always tried to even learn from that, the way that Patrice and Ant would disagree on all those things, but then to seriously love each other. I mean, I know Patrice was just out there over the summer barbecuing at Ant's house at one of the parties, and that sometimes that when you get into political fights and philosophical fights, you think that they're bigger. They sometimes feel bigger than human emotions, but the human connection is more important than anything else. The fact that those guys could do that. Tomorrow's O&A show, I'll certainly be listening in for that because, as I said, these guys have had Patrice on for many, many years, and always there was a free reign. Patrice would never... or any of the comics. And again, this is just so unusual in terms of radio, where the people come in and go, I hung out and basically got to do just as much as the hosts do. It's a really, really unique thing that O&A have done with those comics. Hi, you're on the Run of Fez show.
Hey, I'm a comic. I just wanted to say... The beautiful thing about Patrice is, a lot of comics are very word for word, and we write what we write, and we stick with it for our little time on stage. And Patrice could go on stage and just do 2-3 minutes and then see something in the crowd that he can pick on and talk for an hour about it and still have you crying, hysterical, and then without blinking, just go back to what he was talking about an hour before. And it's really hard to picture somebody doing that, but there's nobody better than him at doing that. And, you know, we really did lose a real hero in the comedy world.
See, that's the thing that people don't always understand about really funny people, is that the mind is working on so many different levels. At one level, it's working on this joke, but on another level, it's like, okay, where are these jokes going to take us? Or is it the time to stop going off road, to get back on the road? And I've really noticed, particularly since doing the Unmasked show, is that you're not going to run into funny people who aren't incredibly bright in other areas. Certainly not people that are bringing something new and original into this. Here's Happy Typing Girl.
Hey, Ronnie. Terrible, terrible news. And like I think a couple callers ago said, it's amazing to be so affected when someone who you didn't really know passes. You know, I met Patrice, but I didn't know him, and this feels like such a tremendous loss. And everybody's saying such nice things about him, and everything is so dead on. I just wanted to add two things that I was thinking about today, and he was such an inspiration. They say about a lot of people, you know, when they made him, they broke the mold. But I mean, with Patrice, it really is true. There is nobody like him left on this planet. And what really showed me that was during the whole Imus controversy, when Imus was getting fired and everything. So few people, I mean, you were one of the people speaking about it, but so few people would speak about it at all. And the way Patrice spoke about it, I think it was on Fox News and also on a radio show, I sat there with my jaw on the floor with how brilliant he was and how he got to the heart of the issue and how unafraid he was of speaking his mind, even though everyone else seemed to be afraid at the time.
Oddly enough, too, during the Unmasked, he brought that up as like the 3 things that he was most pleased with that he had done, and one of them was being able to go on Fox News and express himself that well. And he was amazing, and, you know, black people were mad at him at that time, because sometimes people were just as like, if people go, oh, something got said anti-black, and if you're black, you'll go with it. Same time, if something gets said anti-gay, people are like, you know, gay people will be like, all right, let's shut that down, not knowing that it will come back and reflect upon them. But yeah, I thought Patrice's thing of understanding the bigger picture during that was phenomenal.
It was so rare. And then the other thing I just wanted to mention quickly was I was so inspired by the Unmasked you did with you, when he talked about just not needing to have every person in the world listening to him and not needing to be the most famous or have the most money. He had an ethic that I thought was really incredible and not just a bunch of bullshit.
You know, I saw some things with Patrice, too, not long ago, where he was actually talking about not doing comedy long term, that maybe getting into producing and stuff. I was very, very surprised when I saw it. And, you know, sometimes people say that, but it doesn't, you know, work out that way. But I guess we'll never have any idea.
It's just a huge loss to everyone who knew him and to the world, and especially to people who didn't get a chance to know him yet. It's just such a big loss. Thank you for talking about it.
All right, HTG, take care of yourself.
Bye-bye.
We are talking about Patrice O'Neal, who did pass away today. It's up on OP Radio on Twitter. And O&A, I'm sure, will have a lot to talk about this tomorrow. No idea exactly how they're going to handle it, but the way they handled the fact that when we first found out that Patrice had the stroke, I'll always remember that show. Doug, you're on the Run of Fez show.
Did you say Doug, Ron?
I did.
Hey, yeah, I had heard Patrice on your Unmasked, And, you know, of course he is so brilliant. And right before he died, too, he had done a podcast with Jay Morse. And he might be playing that again. But in that, he had said he had bought all the recording equipment to do a podcast, and it was just kind of sitting there in a box, and Jay was trying to get him all fired up. And I was getting excited, you know, with it, and Jay's all pumped. And then finally, at the very end, in perfect honesty of Patrice fashion, he just says, I'm lazy.
Yeah.
And that was the end of it. It was just beautiful finish because you get all built up, and then he just like, fuck it, I blow it off.
Well, you know, and even he brought up during that podcast, too, that he just kind of walked away from that office thing when he had it. Yeah. And I remember when, like, Ricky Gervais was just breaking in America, and, you know, just accolades were coming about the British office and stuff like that. And they asked him about American comedians or his favorite comedians. And he brings up Patrice. Nice. And this is Patrice, I guess, right at the beginning of Tough Crowd or maybe even right in before, but certainly didn't even seem like a, you know, far from a household name at the time. And I was like, really funny people, and I'm talking about Gervais now, can recognize really other funny people. You know what I mean? You just, you know, can spot it. Let's go over here to Dave. Dave, you're on the Run of Fez show.
Hey, good afternoon, Ron. It's a very sad day, and I'm sorry to see him go. And I know he's been on your show and Opie and Anthony's show dozens of times, all the way back from the WNEW days. And I'm in radio, too, in this awful business. And what I remember most and what I enjoyed most about having Patrice on there is when the conversation would not necessarily get stale, but that Patrice would ask about the inside workings of radio, because he would come in the show, you know, most of the time for free, even at 6 in the morning or when they were on in the afternoons, and just give you a behind-the-scenes look of what was going on. And to me, I just found that so interesting. And, you know, he would come on the show not as a black man or as a minority, especially when he was talking to Ant, but just as someone that needed to know and would dig at those questions. And the arguments that him and Anthony would have are sometimes priceless, and they both made valid points, but you were seeing it from both different sides of the spectrum. And I hope that lives on. I hope there's tapes of him, you know, floating around somewhere where not only his comedy routines, but the guy was a brilliant man. I mean, he was very smart, and he would always take the opposing view, and it was just, you know, I'm sad that I'm not going to be able to hear that anymore on the radio when he comes on in the afternoon or even with you guys.
You know, that thing that you said before, too, about him just bringing up things that other people don't say, in a way, and I mean this in the best way, it was almost like this, like a baby would say something, you know what I mean? Like he said it from a place of complete innocence. And that always cracked me up, because you really, like, part of you is like, why would you even say that? You know, this is a business. It was amazing stuff. Let's go over here to Jose. You're on Run of Fez.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Yeah.
Listen, I'm really sad right now. He was one of the best comedians that I could know, and without him, I wouldn't have my favorite phrase, the side pussy, because honestly, I have a side pussy thanks to him, and people just don't realize that we lost one of the best comedians out there right now, and you can't replace him, because when he go on in, he take over the show, and I loved it. I don't see nobody replacing him.
No, that, you know, you don't sit around and talk about a personality like his and then go, so here's the next guy to do that. Somebody will be there and just be different, but it certainly won't be the same. The next person will be funny. There will be entertainment. There always is, you know. But it was certainly a unique voice. Let's go over here to Ed. Ed, you're on Run of Fez.
Hey, Ron. Man, I tell you what, I've never met Patrice, but I felt like I just got a blast, a hole right through me, man. Patrice is wise beyond what we can even comprehend, some of the stuff that he says. And my heart really goes out to his family and his close friends. I feel like I've lost somebody really close to me, but I'm really going to miss his laugh.
All right, my friend, thank you very much. Let's go over here to Jake in Jacksonville. Go ahead, Jake.
Hey, good afternoon, guys. I think I had the same reaction you did, Ron. The first I was exposed to him on O&A, and I'll be honest, the first time I heard him, I just thought he was such a loudmouth that I turned him off. And every time he'd come on, I'd turn him off until, I'd listen a little more, and the guy just had such a passion, and, I finally realized what a bright, and I think underneath it all, sweet guy he was. And, the only comparison I could make, I had the same reaction to Bill Hicks when I first heard him, and as far as I know, he's gone down and remembered as a real comedian's comedian, and I hope that, Patrice gets the same respect. That's all I got.
Thank you very much. No one knows how time is going to treat anyone. But Hicks was not a household word during his lifetime. People didn't... certainly, I don't even think he, did any of the shows outside of Letterman. I think Letterman, that was like doing Conan in those days. It was 12:30 in the morning. I don't think he did Tonight Show, and I don't think he had an HBO special.
Yeah, he shot a special in, I think, England.
Yeah. Well, he was kind of big in there. By the way, and I brought this up before, when Patrice went to England, is how Gervais found about him. Sometimes not everybody gets it at first. Let's go over here to Eric. Eric, you're on Fez.
Hey, Ron, how you doing?
Yeah.
Sad day. I just wanted to say Patrice was a genius. He brought out nuances and observations in people, politics, whatever he talked about that people didn't see or really pick up on, and he would pick up on them and get things out of people on him, and he was just a genius. Everything he did was, for fun, basically. And he made fun of himself. He wasn't, too high on the hog to do that and stuff. And I just miss Marty, man.
Thank you, my friend. And I'm trying to find a way to express that. But there is definitely a thing that we all get into with our thinking, that we accept certain stuff that became, opinions before ours, just as fact, and then we start from that point on. But it always seemed to me that Patrice had almost no knowledge of the subject other than his own. And that's what I thought was completely unique and fresh about him. Let's go over here to... let's go to Sean. Sean, you're on Fez.
Hey, Ronnie.
Yeah.
Patrice was the first iTunes download I bought. I heard his Black Patrice show, or Patrice Black Phillip.
Yeah.
And it just made me purchase. And I was supposed to go see him at the DC Improv last summer, and my van overheated on the way, and I was more pissed off that I missed Patrice than the van blowing up.
Let's go over here to Nick in Boston. Nick.
Hey, guys. I just want to say, your morning really determines how the rest of your day is going to go, can make or break your mood. And Patrice just had a way of making my morning always, on the O&A show with laughs. And, you could be stuck in horrible traffic or just, anticipating a really bad day. But when you hear him in the morning get laughing, it gets you on a whole different mood. And,
Also in that thing of that show, like, now at the time we don't... always realize it. But can you picture him being on another show a lot like he did with O&A? I mean, there was just something about that show where he had his freedom, yet there was somewhat of an anchor for him to hold on to. And wait, you know what I mean? Like, he just didn't zip off forever. And you never know how things work out. A lot of times when stuff is happening, you don't even recognize it for what it is. But there is a ton of recorded material now that never would have existed. If we go back to, let's say George Carlin. We don't know what George Carlin is like, rolling, moving in and out of things. You know what I mean? Like, you saw Carlin when he was done. But when you listen to Patrice on O&A, you would hear him asking questions about something out of the news, like the O&A would have some topic. He would start asking questions because he had no knowledge of this thing, and then you would get to the point of, all right, here is the opinion that he's decided. Here's what he's comparing it to. Here's what he's going back. So there's a ton of recorded material now on just how a great comic thinks, how they put shit together. I don't know how many shows you could say that about, I don't know how many comics have that, or how many radio shows have ever been set up where somebody could have done that. Let's go over here to John. John, you're on Fez. John, we got you, buddy?
Hey, yeah, I'm here, guys. Hey, listen, I want to offer my condolences. I'm really sorry for your loss. Hey, I think your fans and the Opie and Anthony fans, and I know there's a ton of them listening to you guys right now, I really think that we owe it to Patrice, his legacy, and to you guys, to go to iTunes, and if you've never bought anything on there before, go buy Patrice's stuff. He's got videos on there. He's got albums. We owe it to him. I mean, he's a big part of that show. And we need to keep his legacy alive, in my opinion.
Thanks for calling, John. Here's Charlie in Santa Cruz.
What's going on, Ronnie B? Yeah, Patrice, it seemed like he had a unique sense of humor, and it's sad that people didn't get his humor. I'm not saying that we're better fans for understanding what he would say, but I feel bad for the people who didn't get what he had to say. And it was very unique. It was so fun. And your guys' humor, you guys got great humor. So was O&A. But that's for the people who don't realize what they're missing. They're scared of it for some reason. That's the way it really is.
Yeah, I think, though, that sometimes when you try to make something for everyone, you just water it down. But, we're saying, not enough people know him throughout his life. He's trending right now on Twitter as the number one trend. The people who got Patrice certainly loved him, certainly thought the world about him. And we're not talking about him like he was some kind of saint. You know what I mean? We're talking about him like he was a guy who was uniquely funny. And from my point of view, that carries a lot. I'll put up with just about anything else if you can bring me something really new and really funny. Let's go over here to Mike. Mike, you're on Fez.
Hey, buddies. Pretty sad day today. First, I got to be honest, I never heard of Patrice until I got XM, and I put on O&A for the first time, and the first day I listened, they had this woman on, Dr. Z. I don't know really what she does, or she must have wrote a book that she was promoting, and then Patrice was in, and he had me hooked after that. He was grilling her. He was absolutely killing her, making her so uncomfortable, but she flowed with it too. After that, he had me hooked, and every time I would turn on O&A, sometimes I wasn't in a mood to listen, but if he was sitting with them, I would just listen to the entire length of the show, because he made that show when he was on it. Absolutely, 100%. And he had me hooked after that, and I haven't missed anything that he's done since.
Thank you very much, my friend. Here's Jeff. Jeff, go ahead.
Hey, buddies. I just want to say, on Joe Rogan's podcast, on Jay Moore's podcast, they both held Patrice in an extremely high regard. Joe Rogan, Joey Diaz would always talk about how he's one of the better comics to come out of Boston in the last few years, along with Bobby Kelly. And I was recently watching Tough Crowd clips, and there was one with Lisa Lampanelli, and she did some stupid black comment. And Patrice and Voss, the look on their face when they heard that was priceless. He was a comic genius, and he was just fantastic. I'm extremely sad.
Yeah, and it's one thing to make it with the masses, and it's another thing to have the respect of your peers. To have the respect of your peers is a phenomenal thing, and I'm looking over at the people writing about him right now on Twitter. Justin Stengel, Colin Quinn, Doug Stanhope. I mean, these are people that if they died today, we'd be talking about the same way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When the really funny people say, this guy is funny, for me personally, that's better than having some shitty fucking TV show that, you know, a lot of people watch because it happens to come on at 8 o'clock on a fucking Thursday. But the fact that people who really do what you do think that you're remarkable, that's amazing to me. Let's go over here to Dimitri. Dimitri, you're on my fez.
Hey, guys. Listen, I saw Patrice twice live, and both times I was just astounded by the way he interacted with the crowd, whether it was hecklers or just someone sitting, in the right place at the right time. I mean, I think he came across on stage the way he came across on O&A, very in the moment, even though he had an act to do, still very much in that mold of anything that happens is going to affect what you see, and you never saw the same show. Like, both times I saw him, it was on warm-up for getting ready to record a special, and the special was nothing like what I saw that night. Both were great, but they were two completely different shows just based on the way he interacted with the crowd.
Thank you very much, my friend. Here's Patrick. You're on the Run of Fez show.
Hey guys, this is Patrick from Cringe Humor. Another sad day in the comedy world. This is just, we're losing icons here. We lost Greg Giraldo, we lost Mike, and now we're losing Patrice O'Neal. And the first event I ever covered was his roast back in 2003. And to see him evolve and become this legend in a short amount of time, he just, he was lazy, but he worked hard at it. And he was just the most brilliant performer I've ever worked with and seen live.
So, like you just said, this keeps happening, though. This, past year or so. Three terrific comics run.
It's not up-and-coming comedians. It's not guys that are on the cusp. These are icons we're losing. It's really just getting played out now. I mean, we got to start taking care of ourselves here, and to lose performers like that and have their careers cut short, it's sickening. It really is.
Thank you, my friend. 866-RON-0-FEZ. 866-RON-0-FEZ. Let's go over here to Ken. Ken, you're on Run of Fez.
Hey, how you doing, Ron?
Yeah.
Hey, I wanted to share a story of my experience with Patrice. Nothing profound or anything. After I saw you guys there at the Animation Festival with O&A.
Yeah.
And afterwards, we saw Patrice outside. He was great. He was so personable. And, we asked to take a picture with him. So me and my girl, we got on each side of him to take a picture and snapped a few shots, and we walk away, and she turns to me and just quickly says, hey, he unhooked my bra. And to me, that's something that just always stuck out as Patrice. It's just he was never off. Even out in the street, he was just funny as hell, and he's just going to really be missed.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for the time.
866-RON-0-FEZ. 866-RON-0-FEZ. Here's our buddy Lionheart. Hey, Lionheart.
Hey, Ron, how you doing, man? What you said before about Patrice was just dead on, because, he's always been one of my favorite comics because he's real smart, but to a certain extent, you never know how much of that is a magic trick or material or writing, and then when I got to have him on my show, we did about an hour with him, and it was just amazing. The guy can roll with anything, It's not only that we wouldn't talk about anything, but there's nothing he couldn't talk about. He could go with anything, even if he didn't know it. He would make like you said, he would make his mind up, and he would roll with it in a way that nobody else could.
Well, I was watching something not too long ago with Patrice, and it was like an internet video show, and the guys just said one thing off the bat, and Patrice was like, oh, I see, I thought it was going to be one kind of interview, but it's this kind of interview. And, when the guy tries to be funny instead of just talking to him, and it was so fast and so funny to see, because I'm looking over at the interviewer, and the interviewer's like, oh shit, did I just fuck up? Yeah. It was just so goddamn funny. Thanks, dude. If you're just tuning in, we were mentioning that we got the news that Patrice O'Neal passed away after falling into that coma. I guess mid-October, is that when it was, which you heard on the O&A show. Make sure you're listening to those guys tomorrow, because the experiences all those fellows have spent together has just been amazing. The amount of laughs that have gone on with Patrice over the last decade is just phenomenal. Let's get over here to Adam. Adam, you're on Fez. Adam. Let's go over here to Chris. You're on Fez.
Hello?
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, boys? How you doing? This is a very sad day, and I just want to share with you the first time I started listening to you guys and Opie and Anthony was I think when the Leonard thing happened, when Patrice was in studio and they called Leonard, told him he was fired, and just the rant that Patrice went on was hilarious, and that Cheetah Heels bit will never get old.
All right, thanks. Here's Greg in Baltimore.
Hey, Ron.
Yeah.
Hey, I went to the Traveling Virus, and I seen Patrice there, and me and my girlfriend at the end of the show went to go get his autographs, take pictures with him and everything, and she's kind of a bigger girl, and her shirt was up a little bit, and her belly button was showing. He said, boy, that looks like a little kiddie pool right there. And he was so forward to everybody, you know what I mean? He doesn't. So, I mean, I loved him ever since, but he's just a great guy, and he's going to be missed.
Thank you so much. Here's Max in Idaho. You're on Manifest.
Yeah, Ron, it's horrible news. I just tuning in not too long ago. I didn't know. Obviously, this news must have come out after O&A, huh?
No, it just actually happened this afternoon, and we read it on, I didn't mention it on the air until I saw that Opie himself had tweeted it. But
well, I just wanted to say, again, just awful news. I want to say, when I first saw Patrice was on the last Comic Standing, I couldn't stand him. It's just, I don't know if it was editing or just the way he came off. I just couldn't stand it at all. And then I heard him a couple times on O&A, and I just fell in love with the guy's outlook and his just unabashed way of telling people how it is. There's a voice now that won't be able to be heard anymore. It's a shame.
Let's go over here to. I just want to remark on that. It's like some people, some people got Patrice right away. Some people, it took them a while, and some people just never got him, which I kind of find completely interesting. I mean, if you think about something, I know humor is subjective, but how could something make one person laugh so hard and a person sitting next to him just being like, that's not right, that shouldn't be talked about? I mean, it's also amazing when you think about it. Scott, you're on Fez.
Hi, Ron. Thanks for taking my call. Yeah, this is such a loss, and what I feel bad about is I would always look for the opportunity that Patrice had talked about to want to do your show. After he did the Unmasked with you, he was on O&A shortly thereafter and talked about you so highly as the most brilliant man in radio, and he wanted to come in and do your show like he did O&A, and he asked those guys what he should do, and Opie told him, just talk to you, and come on, and he felt so uncomfortable about that. I don't know if it was a feeling of betrayal of O&A or whatever, but he held you in such high regard, and I hoped so long that the day would come that I could hear the banner between you and Patrice like you did in the Unmasked in just a show setting, and really, what a shame.
Thank you so much. Talking about Patrice O'Neal passing away today, really missing one of the great contemporary comedians, and just such a great part of the O&A show for so many years. Tomorrow, I'm sure those guys will have a lot to be talking about, but I am thinking about not just his family, but when you think about Jimmy and Voss and Bobby, and just how much those guys, because let's face it, they're too immature to actually say I love you, you know what I mean? So they're playing out this 8th grade version of butting heads, like little rams just smashing their heads into each other, rather than just saying, I just want to be next to you and be laughing and hanging out with you all the time. They have to sit around and say awful things about each other's shirts. But it really is a remarkable thing that O&A over the years have been able to shed a spotlight on these incredibly funny, dysfunctional comedians who come in and out of the show. We just announced today that Voss and Bonnie are going to be doing the next Unmasked. Not too long ago, we did one with Bill Burr where he talked about Patrice for a second and just saying, even as a kid, as they all came up together, Patrice was in his own class. This is before, anyone started eulogizing Patrice or taking the time to hold him precious because he was sick. He was just saying that off the fly when everything was going well. It was just a known fact. It was just a known fact between funny people. Tim, in Long Island, you're on Fez.
Hey, Ron, thanks for taking me. I'll tell you, the first time I saw Patrice, it was magical. He closed out the show. It was a show over at Dangerfields, and it was Jim Norton, Bill Burr, Voss, the guy Vinny from New Jersey was emceeing it. I mean, it was just an amazing lineup for a show, and all of them killed. I mean, they all had just knockdown, drag out sets. And Patrice comes up last, and he's got to follow just these unbelievable sets. He comes up, pulls out a stool, and just sits down, and just starts talking to us. And it was just, it was mesmerizing. I mean, we were hysterical. I mean, the guy, he wasn't like crazy, wild. He just would just be so profound and next level with his humor, and he just absolutely brought the house down. It was just one of the best comedic experiences I've ever had, ever. And I don't think I'll ever match it. I don't think it'll ever top it or match it.
What year are we talking about, Tim?
This had to be, I'm guessing, 07 maybe, 06, 07. Yeah, it was. They were back on XM. I think they were doing CBS at the time as well, and it was just an unbelievable show.
Thank you so much. Here's Bob, Pittsburgh. You're on Fez.
Hey, Ronnie. The thing with Patrice, and I think it's a mark of a great comedian, is you can never really relay his bits and stuff back to your friends. Like, there's something lost in it. And I think shitty comedians, you can nail it word for word.
Well,
Patrice's logic and everything else was very hard to echo.
It's a really interesting point that you've brought up, because go back and watch how many times that he gets a laugh with an expression, or just what, like he won't finish a thing.
Yeah.
And it's just the way that some people just have that ability to take just the smallest, tiniest thing. And Burr kind of brought this up because the two people, when they were coming up together, the two hot young comics in Boston was Dane Cook and Patrice O'Neal. And Dane was, taking up the whole stage, running around, and Patrice would be very still and be barely moving. And here he was, such a big fucking guy, but would not use all that comedically. We'll take a break here. Back in just a couple of minutes. It's the Ron and Fez Show.
You're gonna beat me? At golf? Oh, you're on. You're in big trouble, though, pal. I eat pieces of shit like you for breakfast.
You eat pieces of shit for breakfast?
Today was the day that we just heard the news that Patrice O'Neal passed away, only 41 years old. So many funny things that we won't get the chance to hear. And I really don't see anybody else coming up with the same premises. They might come up with similar premises, but never in the same exact way. A lot of people were calling in and since a lot of people go off of Twitter, I thought we'd read some of these. These are up on the interrobang.com, and if you wanted to add your comments to it, we'll try to get to some of those later. Here's just what some of the folks said about Patrice. This is from Opie. Yes, it's true that our pal Patrice O'Neal has passed away. The funniest and best thinker I've ever known, period. Jim Norton said, I couldn't possibly love a friend more than I love you. Goodbye, brother. Rich Voss wrote, the times in my life when I've had the most fun was because Patrice O'Neal was there. I will miss you dearly. Love you, brother. Colin Quinn says, thanks to everybody for the Patrice O'Neal comments. One of a kind. In heaven right now. Charming half, infuriating half, and then reversing. Bill Burr said, I never saw anything funnier than watching somebody meet Patrice for the first time. The most purely funny human being I've ever met. Doug Stanhope, rest in peace, Patrice O'Neal, one of the best ever, inspiring every time I heard him on anything. Amy Schumer said, brilliant, unafraid, unapologetic. You inspired me and kept us all honest. Eastside Dave said, very sad to hear about the loss of Patrice O'Neal. He was one of the funniest and coolest guys, period. All right, Eastside Dave just stole Opie's way of ending it with period.
Well, it was lowercase.
Dennis Leary said, Patrice O'Neal, one of the funniest men who have ever walked this earth. Very sad news about Patrice O'Neal, says Justin Stengel. Got to hang with him a few times. Very funny on and off stage. Questlove wrote, so grateful I got to see Patrice O'Neal do his last New York City gig. Man, this is so devastating. He truly was one of my favorite comics. Michael Ian Black wrote, shit, I didn't know him, but I admired him. Nick Cannon wrote, an amazing comedian, an even better person. And Charlie Sheen wrote, the entertainment world, as well as the world is lost a brilliant man today. Patrice had that light. And then he just wrote arrow. I guess he didn't understand how many characters that you have to use. We'll keep updating the tweets that go on there as well, so that you can have more in one place. Some of the really, again, what I wanted to say about this is some of the funniest people in the world. And surely when you're looking at the list of those people I'm talking about, is some of the funniest people that you can think of that were fans of his. Unfortunately, in this case, we did see Eastside Dave stole Opie's ending, which, I don't know, it's a little uncomfortable for me. And actually, I hate to say it, almost ruins the day.
Oh, Jesus.
Almost ruins the beautiful way that so many people are coming out. Are you doing the show with Dave this weekend?
I think so. I have to talk to him tomorrow when we cut the podcast.
I'm noticing this. Yes. You and Fez are never definitive anymore. There's always this.
I'm definitive. I
just
really
anything
don't know.
could go in any different direction. Damn, so depressing, so sad today. I guess I'll go back to the phones here. I feel so sad about doing this, though. It's not like, what am I going to do? Think about something else? It's very, very strange because that we were in that limbo period with him for, so long, and there's a part of you who thinks, well, maybe this is good stuff, They do such wonderful things with medicine these days. I like to say that constantly to people. All you got to do is hold on for a while, and technology's changing so fast.
It'll catch up.
I love to lie to people during worrisome times and just tell them all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, it makes them feel better.
Anything I can do, any lie I can tell. It's a Santa Claus lie. Cedric in Houston, you're on the Ron and Fez show.
Hi, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment on Patrice O'Neal. the way he lived, he was just a true nonconformist. I mean, everything he was on from, I saw a clip of him on the YouTube, on Letterman, and just the way he was talking to Letterman was just completely him. Like, it's nothing I've ever seen before. Anytime he was on any show, just completely unique voice.
But that was the funny thing about him. It's like you would think, hey, did he ever watch Letterman before to understand how you're supposed to act when you go on Letterman? You know what I mean? But he did not do that. We'll read some more of the tweets that are out there. Anthony Cumia wrote, much to his chagrin, Patrice will now join the ranks of those legendary comics. I'm lucky to have known him. He transcended my racism. That's beautiful when you think about it.
Really nice.
Jay Moore wrote, just heard, good night, brother. Damn, just ridiculous, terrible, beyond sad. We talked about this before, that that was a podcast that probably one of the last things that Patrice did was with Jay Moore. Joe Rogan wrote, rest in peace to my friend Patrice O'Neal, great thinker, great comic, great human being. He had a truly unique perspective on this world. Here's E-Rock. Patrice O'Neal, great friend of the show, great comedian, amazing man all around, irreplaceable. And then he puts a sad face.
Oh. Okay.
I like a sad face on that. Let's go over here to Mark. Mark, you're on the Ron Fez show.
Hey, Ron. Yeah, Patrice is by far like my favorite third mic whenever Jimmy was out. And if I heard his voice when I turned the show on, I knew that the whole replay was going to be a must-listen. But even more importantly than that, his opinions on women and dealing with them, which kind of led to the Black Phillip show, just really, really helped me through like a really rough time of a divorce and dealing with women afterward. And me and my brother, we talk a lot when we deal with the bullshit of women. We just say WWPD, like what would Patrice do? And it really kind of gives me the stones to just man up and just take care of things.
Well, it may be too late for you, Mark, but go ahead and keep trying. Red Bear, you're on the Ron Fez show.
Hey, Ronnie. Sad day, but I just remember his calm quickness to everything. Like, he went on stage at that Charlie Sheen roast, threw out his material, and then compared the man's career as being very Christian Slater-ish. Brilliant.
It was really fucking funny. It really was. And I'm not a giant fan of the roast. But, when even Patrice saying, like, something's Christian Slater, he might have meant it as high compliment. Yeah. You don't really know. The Interrobang constantly updating, and if you'd like to add your comments, they're up there. But we'll constantly update new people. I'll try to find them as they come in. Here's Jim Florentine. Patrice O'Neal, rest in peace. I'm going to miss you, buddy. Thanks for making me a better comic. Pete Dominic. Sad to hear my friend and great comedian Patrice O'Neal passed away today. Perhaps if we would have had health care and the 1% would have done their best and people didn't have to sit around and be so greedy and be able to...
Lots of characters.
Yeah, he does. Well, he's got an extra thing. Not all these people do I even notice. Here's Jim Gaffigan. Rest in peace, Patrice O'Neal. Undeniably brilliant. I don't know if I put in Tom Papa. Sad news about Patrice. A true artist. The pitbull of comedy, Bobby Slayton. Rest in Patrice. Patrice O'Neal, my condolences to his family. Very, very funny man.
Look, he's here with us.
Let's go over here to East End Rob. You're on the Ron Fez show.
Ronnie B, I'm out in the East End, and I do a lot of promotions and marketing of the events, and one of the theaters I work for had Patrice out here latter part of the summer, And when you said that he would just spot and just look into the crowd, he actually spotted a WWE wrestler that was actually in the audience, and it was pretty dark. And he acted like a little kid on stage, to where it almost looked like he was just happy as hell, like he's actually coming there to see the wrestler who's there actually coming to see him.
Well, you're burying the lead here. Who was the wrestler?
I don't even remember the name. I have no idea.
This is the worst story ever, because was it Hogan? Was it, who are we talking about?
No. It was somebody who I've never seen before, but he must have known who they all are. I mean, I'm telling you, it was a wrestler I've never even heard of, and I know who, enough of them are.
Oh, so you actually feel like you would know who it was, but it was inside. That was another one of the things that Patrice told me. It was one of the things he was most proud of, is he got the chance to write for WWE for a while. We're talking about the Interrobang. A lot of people going around and collecting the tweets all in the same place. Let's go over here to John. John, you're on the Ron and Fez show.
Hey, Ronnie, how you doing, Dad?
Good.
I want to give my condolences, and I started watching Patrice. Remember Talk Soup?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's when I started. So I've been a long-time listener of you guys and everything. So.
All right, thank you. Dave in Canada, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, buddies. If I could make a request for an unmasked Daryl Hammond. I heard him talking about his book. There is some shit there, some deep shit. He's pretty interesting. But
I certainly would like to do something with Daryl Hammond.
Oh fuck! But I came home from the gym and I flipped you guys on like I always do, and I'm angry. I've just been sitting here on hold trying to think what the fuck is making me so angry, and I think that the mind. Like, you're just not going to ever run into a guy who has that take on the world in that specific way. Like, it's part of the reason I sort of, it works with radio. There's thousands of people listening, and Patrice doesn't know any of us, but we know him, and it's like you bond to the way he thought. It pushes you. And you see a comedian that you really like, it's because it pushes your exact buttons. And this guy was on the top of my fucking list, and that brilliance and that mind and his take on relationships and human nature was so fucking bang on as far as I'm concerned, that it's just I'm just left sitting here just completely fucking angry. It's just an anger.
Dave, let's not make it all about you, okay, buddy? I know that you're angry, but let's see some other people. Seth Meyers wrote, rest in peace, Patrice O'Neal. A day spent watching clips of him online is well spent. Sandra Bernhardt said, terribly sad to hear about Patrice O'Neal. We had a great time at the Green Room a couple of years back. Thoughts go out to his family. That's that Showtime show.
Yeah, with Provenza.
Hosted by Paul Provenza, where a lot of comics get together and act like it's not tough crowd, but, in the back of our minds, we're like, yeah, okay.
Kinda.
It's like a West Coast, like a gentler version.
Okay.
Like maybe a tough crowd that your mom could watch. Really weird how many people tweet that stuff out. All the Twitter responses are going to be kept in one space on at the Interrobang if you want to go over and check them out. And your comments are also welcome. Hey, Freak, you're on the Ron and Fez show.
Hey, guys, terrible day here. It goes without saying Patrice was funny. That doesn't even begin to touch the layer of him. And people have said it here while I've been on hold, just the unique perspective. And what I'll miss most about him is very few people can you say, I wonder what he would say about that, and you sort of wouldn't have an idea. And he wouldn't say it for shock value. I know it came out as shocking, but I truly believe it was not shock intention at all. It's like, this is just what this fucking guy thought. And you never knew what it was going to be. You might have some idea. The only death I've had recently near me in my life is, not near me, but as a fan, is like Carlin. It's just, you know you're going to live your life, and you know, you do get mad because you say, shit, I would love to hear his take on that. And, you know, you're not going to get it, and it just sucks. But, you know, thank you for, you know, the great run we had. The other thing I just want to add about him, too, is, you know, the wonderful thing about Patrice, you know, again, with the perspective-wise, he was so good for O&A and the O&A audience, you know, just to have, you know, a black voice and an alpha male voice. I mean, it was, you know, you don't have to agree with everything he said.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. I mean, if you think about it, that Patrice and his angles being welcomed on O&A and eventually by the O&A audience is remarkable. It's fucking remarkable. And then one of the great things about being funny, another great thing about talk radio is hearing some shit that you don't agree with. And then sometimes you're like, okay, I'll give you 10% of that or 20% of that. And that's a way of moving people to closer. Even if you don't agree with the person 100%, you could say, I'll agree with some of it. But the other thing about Patrice, and we brought this up with the Don Imus thing, is he didn't carry water for anyone. I mean, he didn't carry water for any community. You know, he just had Patrice's opinion. Here is, let's go over to Candyman. Candyman, how are you?
Hey guys, sad day. I just think one of the funniest things I ever remember with Patrice was the appearance when he was on Fox News with John Gibson, with the lady from the Women's Coalition. And it wasn't like he was there performing. It was truly one of the funniest things I've ever seen on TV. And the one thing I'm so glad I've got is just the Elephant in the Room special is something I'll watch over and over again. I absolutely love it. And the guy was just, what you see is what you get, and he was absolutely brilliant. And we're going to miss him.
Yeah, the one small kind of silver lining for me is that he was happy with that special. Out of all the tweets, which one did you like best?
There's a lot of good ones. I think I like Norton's. I thought Norton's was
so sad,
touching.
Yeah, Ants was very funny.
Yeah. Colin Quinn's was great.
Dave would have done very good if he didn't steal Opie's ending, which, well, I mean, what is the reason for that, Dave? Are you promised to ask him about that tomorrow night?
I will ask him. What happened with the period? Sure, it's lowercase, but still, same word.
That's goddamn lowercase. I've been saying that for a long time. James, you're on Fez.
Yeah, Ronnie, sad day. I originally heard him on O&A, and I thought his humor was, I don't know, I didn't like him because I thought he was very arrogant and almost smug. But I came to realize that I'm not black and I'm not overweight, and his perspective, his observational comedy got to me. It won me over, and then I realized that I was hearing things that only he could explain to me, and he did it in a funny way, and I'll miss that.
Mike, you're on the Ron Fez show.
Hey, buddies. I was curious. I know that he was originally talking about, or a while ago was talking about writing a book or book deal. Does anybody know where that lies or how that's coming along?
No, he was in the middle of reading a book, so I don't know whether he got a chance to finish that or not. I have no idea about him, whether he was writing a book or not. Here's Charlie. Charlie, you're on the Ron Fez show. Charlie. Once, twice. Gone, brother. Bill Norland, you're on Ron Fez.
What's up, buddies? This is Bill. I just wanted to say, and it may sound overly simplistic, but what I liked about Patrice the most is that he was just unapologetically honest in every situation, whether it be an interview or on O&A. It didn't matter who the fuck he was talking to. He was going to be Patrice and be completely honest and give an honest opinion on whatever he was talking about. And it happened to be hilarious. You know, and that guy said earlier that when he first heard Patrice that he didn't like him. Well, Patrice wouldn't have gave a fuck. It wouldn't have changed anything. He would have just kept right on going, being.
Well, but I kind of agree, because I don't think the first time that I heard him, but I think it's kind of interesting this. We tend to like what we already know. So you're going to like a funny person if you go, hey, I like them. They remind me of Brian Regan, or they remind me of,
something you're familiar with.
Yeah. Oh, he does like a Jerry Seinfeld thing. He's good.
Jerry.
So that's the people that you will like right away. But the unique people, it might take you a couple of times to like them, or even get them, even get where they're coming from.
Be able to form an opinion on.
Yeah.
But the people who turn you are the best, because you have really strong opinions on them.
Well, yeah, I mean, the people who do get you to think, then you're like, all right, well, this is something even a little different. I haven't heard from Fez in an hour and a half. Where's he been?
He's in there.
Well, he didn't go anywhere?
No.
No, I'm right here.
I know that thing is is it tough for you, Fez?
Yeah, it's really, really sad. Just thinking about his family right now is just a tough thing of what they're going through.
Like what you went through when your dad died?
Oh yeah, that as well. And I remember one time Patrice had said something about how he didn't want people saying hello to him unless they were really sincere and meant it and were interested in saying, hi, how are you? And that always stuck with me.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought it was just like the guy said, he just really...
well, what stuck to you? What stuck about the hello, how are you thing?
Just how many times I say hello to people without even thinking that I said hello or how are you. Just passing someone in the hall and another how are you went out.
I even skipped the hellos.
Good.
I just walk by people.
Efficient.
Let's go over to Kevin. You're on Fez. All right, now I'm going down to John. John, you're on Fez.
Hey, boys, how you doing? Patrice's laugh. There was nothing that got me going like Patrice's laugh. When he wound up, man, I had to pull over from just my tears. And, just one other thing is, I think this is all like, the way I feel now is a testament to you guys and the great radio you put on. You really allow us to never meet someone, but feel like we're in the presence of brilliance. So I just want to say thank you.
Well, tomorrow will be the show to listen to with O&A. I'm going to set my clock early tomorrow. I'm getting up at 9:45 and trying to listen to the whole show.
You might not catch
some of it.
All of it. I'm going to catch all 15 minutes of the show. It's worth it to me to get up at that ungodly hour.
It starts at 6.
Nothing starts at 6. People sleep at 6. We're going to read off some more of those Twitters. There's so many up now that it's tough for me to find them all. But I will say this. I'm trying to get into that whole hello thing, and that might be the new thing I'm thinking about.
Really?
Yeah. Like if someone says hello to me while they're still walking, I'm gonna go right after them.
Like a tap.
Who are you saying hello to? Unless you have the time to talk to me, I don't want your hello. Will you start looking for Patrice change, Fez?
I don't know if that was something that went on in his life.
Okay. Let's go over here to let's go to Brian. Brian, you're on Fez.
Yeah, what's going on, guys? The thing I wanted to say was Patrice was like, he was so full of life and had like so much energy. Like if he would be in the room on O&A, for example, and there'll be, 4 or 5 other comedians in there. He would be the one to stand out. He would be the funniest guy. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, and it's just a testament to all of these people writing stuff of how many people are really, really fond of him. Here's some more coming in. Kevin Smith. I shared some air and some airtime with the man on O&A. He was always funny and thoughtful. Patrice, he will be missed. Mark Marin. Man, I'm going to miss Patrice. Fuck. So sad. Love that guy. He was a truly great comedian and original. Bonnie McFarlane, I really loved everything about you, Patrice. Even when you were totally aggravating me, I will truly miss you. So many really, really funny people cared about him. What are you going over and trying to find some of these for me?
Yep.
All right, let me see that one there. Mr. Ed Lover. Rest in peace to a very funny guy, Patrice O'Neal, gone too soon at 41. Ed Lover has a way of making his tweets look like he just signed your yearbook.
Oh, thanks, Ed.
Too good to be forgotten.
Hags.
Let's go over here, Todd in Harrisburg. You're on my fest.
What I loved most about Patrice is he had this way of cutting through people's bullshit and pretensions, kind of along the lines of the hello, how are you thing. If he could tell, just in as quick as lightning, if he could tell if you were just being fake or phony, he would just go after you like a fucking pit bull. I remember there was a couple of hot chicks that were in trying to promote some alcohol or something that they brought him into O&A's studio, and he just went after this one stuck-up bitch, and it was fucking brilliant because how quickly he was able to see through people. Amazing.
Thank you. Tomorrow's O&A show. Their chance to talk about their really good buddy, Patrice O'Neal. Let's go over here to Kevin. Kevin, you're on the Run and Fest show.
Yeah, you got to think of Patrice, what he would be saying if he was in your studio talking about somebody else who died. He'd have a sense of humor about it. He wouldn't kind of be looking so down on this. He would kind of find a funny aspect of it.
Yeah, it's funny. He's dead at 41. It's funny stuff. Funny stuff.
The guy cheated death for so long.
For so long, he was 41. You should live another 40 years. You cheated death by being alive right now. You're the death cheater. I always need, I'm Irish, so at a wake we always need somebody to turn on. I always had a couple cousins that we could put the boots to.
Oh, good.
What did you just fucking say?
It's on.
Did he say something to you? That would be the other people in the family. Did he say something to you?
Yes.
This is on. And then they'd hit you with everything in the kitchen. Irish people they'll find like if you're in a fucking kitchen fight with an Irish person, you're going to get hit with a pan. If you're going to fucking be in a garage in a fist fight, you're going to take a rake in the back. They will find anything that's around.
Hey, you got to improvise.
The Marine Corps believes that.
Okay, anything's a weapon.
I'm very frustrated because let's put the Syracuse story in the back burner for me. I brought up the Irish thing. Maybe for one night only, I should drink to forget my troubles.
I don't know. You should do that.
Scott, Brooklyn, you're on Run Fest.
Hey, Rod. I've been listening since NEW, the 50-gallon drum challenge, 9/11, several careers in my life, getting married.
I just love the fact that you remember those days as the 50-gallon drum challenge and 9/11.
Well,
two of the most horrifying things that have happened in a lifetime.
But Patrice was always in the room, and as funny as he was, my memories of Patrice are as strong as just for him being a friend and being there, are as strong as my memories of any friend that I know. And
Scott, just by the way you're talking, if you were watching a child, I'd call the police right now. If you were driving, I would run you off the road to protect others.
Well, this will be a day you'll remember then.
You sound like someone who, in a couple minutes from now, will hear a crash, and then he's going to come out of the kitchen just bleeding all down. I fucking stepped on it and then fell on it.
Oh, God.
It broke in my hand, and then I stepped on it, and I fell throat first on it.
Look at.
Emmett, you're on Run the Fez show.
Hey, Ron.
Yeah.
How you doing, buddy?
Yeah.
It's a very sad day today. I just wanted to bring up one show that he was on with O&A, where he sang a Howlin' Wolf song with Warren Haynes.
Mm-hmm. That was great.
And before that, I mean, you know, I completely agree with Anthony's sentiments. I mean, the man was brilliant. He had a way of just looking at things from both perspectives. And, you know, I always liked his comedy. And then the day that I heard him sing that song, I was like, holy shit, man. If he doesn't get a recording contract over this, I'd be very surprised. But he's just a fantastic human being. And you have days that are sad, and then you got days that you get kicked in the nuts, and I think this is one of them.
Some days you get kicked in the nuts. Sometimes you don't.
Oh, my balls.
Today we got kicked in the nuts.
Some days you don't.
Yes, I was going to just leave it
Some days,
fucking laying there.
Some days you just don't get kicked in the balls.
I don't know what it is about you, Hicks, but as you've grown to look more and more like Bob Seger, you've taken on an air of superiority above everyone else. Like you are the leader of the Silver Bullet Band, and no one else could ever understand you.
Sure, I got some good Seeger looks going on, but, you know, it doesn't make me better than other people.
I guess I'll see you at 9 tonight. Yeah, I know. We all know that.
Mm-hmm. Turn the page on you.
You only know that one song, right?
Yeah, hold on, I'm looking some more. I got some real night moves for you.
That's what you say to the ladies.
That's right.
Perhaps you'd like to come back to my apartment. I'll turn off the lights so you don't have to see how hideous it is. And then I'll put on my night moves.
Hey, take a look at her strut.
Matt, you're on Run the Fez.
Yeah, I was thinking about a time when Patrice, when you had him on the Unmasked show,
Yeah.
and he said something about like how he's on stage, you know, he wanted a boutique audience.
Right.
And not everybody would get him, but the people who did get him loved him. And I loved when he said that if I'm on stage and it's just me pontificating for an hour, it's a good show. And I always enjoyed that about him.
Well, this is the thing about that. You can't go up and try not to make mistakes. I was just telling a friend about this not too long ago. You've got to be there because you want to be there. And not go up and, you know, the people that are afraid are the ones who think, hey, what could go wrong?
Can't think like that.
That's the beauty of it. You know, and then we are sitting around saying, you know, boutique audience, and two things that are trending worldwide, rest in peace, Patrice, and Elephant in the Room. So there sure as hell was an audience there for him.
Loved him.
Let's go over here to let's go to Lisa. Lisa in the Cult Jam. You're on the Run of Fez show.
Hey, Ronnie Hitchazzi. This is such a sad day. I love Patrice so much because I'm crying. He was true to himself. He was raunchy, and that is why I love him. And, you know, my condolences to you guys and to the O&A family.
See, my thing is this. I don't think you've lived a life unless you got some women crying.
That's the way. That's how to gauge it.
That is the only way to gauge life.
Oh, wow. She's fucked up over this.
I think the only way to live a life is at your funeral, some woman that your family's never met before shows up with a baby who looks exactly like you?
Recent.
Living a double life.
Why do people say that it's a double life? I just see it as the same life. I always hear that term. Well, he lived a double life. Insurance salesman by day, drug dealer by night.
Badass.
No, he was a fucking drug dealing insurance salesman. No one can compartmentalize as much, that whole Batman thing on Bruce Wayne during the daytime. I guarantee you, there was a lot of times that Bruce Wayne was fucking chicks that he just put the cow on his head. And just like...
I'll blow the spot.
I got an idea. You want to bat fuck? Because that's where I'm coming from. It ain't just all this money. It's the fucking cars. It's the crime fighting. It's all happening.
He probably just like showed up at work in his suit and he realized he was still wearing like his bat boots and he's just like, oh fuck. And just...
I didn't think he went to work. I thought he worked out of his bed like fucking Hugh Hefner.
It's like a playboy.
I mean, at least if you could still have a Batcopter and be a fucking...
Fuck yeah, it's pimp.
And this is what I hate about the Bat. That they won't fucking spend the time to go, well, where did he land the bat plane? There's no... They have fucking radar.
No, it doesn't exist in the bat world.
Every time someone says, like, oh, I'm going to a Batman movie, you have to be able to say, I'm going to think like a retard for the next fucking hour and a half. Because we know none of it could happen.
No, he's just that good.
Where do you land? Why isn't it on radar? It's not that good. You're fucking retarded if you think you could get away with it. They found Bin Laden in fucking 10 years. And that fucker never came out of his house. This is like if you went in the Bat Cave and stayed there, just eating sandwiches.
Watching porn.
You think Bin Laden was always going like this? I just want to go out for like 5 fucking minutes. Just go to a mall.
Some fresh air, for the love of God.
I haven't seen a movie in a theater in so long.
Get an Orange Julius for yourself.
And like, I think it would be okay, like if you lived in the fucking sticks and then go outside. But he lived in a town where shit was happening.
That was nice, like a little town he had right next to the hospital. He had a nice compound.
I
mean, Pakistan is a happening place.
I'm looking at some of these other people who tweeted stuff. This is Adam Ferreira. Patrice O'Neal was brilliantly insightful. One of the funniest comics I've ever seen. My thoughts and prayers are with his family. Sinbad wrote, one of the funniest comics I know. Patrice O'Neal died last night after previously suffering from a stroke. I pray for yours. And Ricky Gervais wrote, sad news about his passing, one of my favorite stand-up comedians. Here's Glenn, Massachusetts. Glenn.
Hey, Ronnie. Condolences to Patrice's family. I'm going to give him a tribute tonight for my son. He's at college. He's going on stage tonight as a stand-up for the first time. And he's in class now, but I'm going to text him later. And just give a shout-out to Patrice to all the college students. And he's given me many, many, many
I'm trying to get this straight.
moments.
You're writing your kid's stand-up for him?
No, I'm not writing it for him. I'm just going to call and let him know that Patrice died. And when he goes on stage, I'm just going to have him give a moment for Patrice to commemorate his life.
That'll be great. No stand-up goes better after a moment of silence. If we could all bow our heads for the next moment.
Hey, everybody, good to be here. Good to be here.
And then I'd like to do Oh, Canada. Oh, Canada. I was up in Canada one time, and I was at a sporting event, and they played that song, and I go, what is this song? And I go, this is our national anthem. I go, national anthem. Then you guys really are a country.
Oh, yeah.
Because I didn't think they were a full country at the time because they didn't have their own money. They had English people and their money. And I feel like you're really not your own country until you put your own people in the money.
Kind of make it look like a bitch, you know? It's across the fucking ocean.
They had Queen Elizabeth on the money. Then it got a little weird. Bertie Higgins was on the money, which surprised me. Small, I mean, on quarters.
Oh, all right. Well, it's still kind of weird.
Steve, you're on Fez.
Hey, Run DMC was Patrice's favorite band, and I'm pretty sure Rockbox was his favorite song. Maybe you guys can close the show with that.
I definitely would. If we know for a fact that was his favorite band and his favorite song. How are you going to find that out? Just Google it.
Hopefully he happened to say one time, my favorite song is Rockbox.
If he would have, we could just end with some Seeger. Not on Main Street.
All right.
Little too tall, could have used a few pounds. Jesse, you're on Manifest.
Hey, Ronnie. Hey, I was just listening to Alex Jones, and Alex had Patrice on quite a few times, and he just said some great touching words about him. And, you know, I think everybody loved Patrice, and I really wish you'd have Alex on to really talk about the important issues in this crazy thing we call life.
Well, Alex has his own show.
Well, I know, but he'd love to come on your show and spread his word, man.
He's got a very fine audience himself, right?
Well, not nearly as good as you, Ronnie.
All right, thank you. Let's go over here to Brian. Brian, you're on Manifest.
Hey, I remember hearing Patrice for the first time. It was the best of over the holidays, and then I just remember how infectious his stories were. And even though it was a replay, I couldn't step away from my radio because his stories were amazing and funny and human and genuine. I remember I had to cancel a couple of classes because I found his stuff much more interesting than my own life at that time.
Yeah, he's an interesting guy. He really was. Yeah, we're going to go out with Rockbox, right or wrong. Right or wrong. Because I do want to play a song for Patrice today. Ed, you're on the Run of Fez show.
Yeah, how you doing? I just wanted to say that, I'm really glad for shows like you guys and Opie and Anthony where there's no ego like on Stern's show where a comedian could come on and kind of...
First of all, don't run down other people on a fucking sad day. Do me that favor. Seriously. Is this ready to go? All right, let's end this up for Patrice. Make sure you listen to O&A tomorrow. So many guys who love Patrice have done that show, and it should be one that you want to catch. We'll see you guys back in here tomorrow.
This has been the Ron and Fez Show.